Hello good people, welcome to my video. Introduce myself, my name is Tari Septiana from C class. In this video, I will explain my presentation about the implementation of authentic assessment of speaking skill. In this paper, I have three content. 1. Chapter 1 Introduction, Chapter 2 Discussion, and Chapter 3 Conclusion. Okay, now going to Chapter 1 Introduction. Background of the problem. In education, the term assessment refers to the wide variety of methods or tools that educators use to evaluate, measure, and document the academic readiness, learning progress, skill acquisition, or educational needs of students. Assessment is carried out to see what students know, understand, and are able to do. Assessment is very important for tracking progress, planning next step, reporting in learning. Assessment is a way of supporting learning. It helps teachers and students to understand the depth and breadth of learning undertaken so that progress and next step can be discussed and planned. Teacher will assess each learner progress and achievement in knowledge and understanding, skill, also attribute and capabilities. Authentic assessment refer to assessment tasks that resemble reading and writing in the real world and in school. They are likely to be more valid than conventional tests, particularly for learning outcomes that require higher order thinking skill. Because they involve ritual tasks, they are also likely to be more interesting for students and thus more motivating. And finally, they can provide more specific and usable information about what students have succeeded in learning as well as what they have not learned. However, authentic assessment may require because they involve real-world tasks. They are also likely to be more interesting for students and thus more motivating. And finally, they can provide more specific and usable information about what students have succeeded in learning as well as what they have not learned. However, authentic assessment may require more time and effort on an instructor part to develop and may be more difficult to grade. Speaking is one of four skills in language learning that is very important. The student needs to pay attention to pronunciation, fluency, and diction. Next, problem formulation. Based on the background of the problem above, the writer identifies the problem as follows. 1. How is the implementation of authentic assessment used by teacher? And 2. What is the problem is assessing speaking while implementing of authentic assessment? Objective of the paper. There are some purposes what we can get from this paper, such as knowing how the implementation of authentic assessment, knowing how the concept of authentic assessment, and the last, knowing the problem in implementing authentic assessment. Advantages of the paper. Based on the purpose, the writer hopes this paper can give any advantages to apply and evaluate the authentic assessment in real life, and the reader can take the advantages from this paper. Okay, next, chapter 2, discussion. The implementation of authentic assessment used by the teacher. 1. Oral interview, curriculum vitae. The oral interview is conducted to reveal the student's personal background, activities, reading, and interests. The student responds orally to the question about a range of topics. It guarantees the journey of the student language performed. 2. Demonstration, mini drama. Demonstration is used to assess the student's abilities to express their oral English based on the given situation in the form of mini drama. In this type of speaking assessment, the teacher provides the principle in which the student produces the spoken expression in the time. The sentence or utterance are produced by each student based on the plot. 3. Teacher observation, spontaneous conversation. In this technique, the lecturer involves the student in a spontaneous conversation. In this type of assessment, the lecturer wants to measure the student's ability in expressing response spontaneously. In this type of speaking assessment, the teacher does not want to use the impromptu technique because the teacher wants a planned speaking practice. 4. Project time of religious video. In this type of speaking assessment, the teacher does not want to use the impromptu technique because the teacher wants a planned speaking practice. For example, students have to perform a story for a drama in which they need to prepare their properties. Procedure of implementing the authentic assessment. The procedure of the implementation of authentic assessment is clear and systematic. Usually, the teacher assesses the student speaking by giving score and feedback with pen. Then, the assessment instrument is given back to the student. It is done by the teacher in order that the student knows her mistake. Then, in final semester, the teacher calculates the student total score in a report. Determining the score. The teacher usually determines student score in speaking skill with some consideration. Based on the theory, to score the student's speaking ability, the lecturer should use rubric score. Rubric score contains the criteria to score the student's speaking abilities. Scoring criteria for a speaking range by the teacher is actually appropriate with the scoring of speaking introduced by Brown. Next, the problem in assessing speaking while implementing of authentic assessment. 1. Authentic assessment becoming mental process for the student. The implementation of authentic assessment can become a mental process for the student. Mental process for the student consists of positive and negative impact for the student. 2. Not all the students are ready technically. The students are not ready technically for their preparation. 3. Some students do not clearly understand about a feedback. When the teacher had written the student score in assessment instrument, some students do not clearly understand about their mistake and the feedback by the teacher. 4. Some students find difficulties to make their script. When the student make the dialogue, the student find it difficult to find the appropriate word or term they want to use. The student make the dialogue by using the word that they know. And the last, the student tend to use rather impolite way in the conversation. When the student does the conversation with the lecturer, they tend to speak improper words, and it's due to their lack of vocabulary. And the last chapter, conclusion. First, in teaching learning process, the teacher used assessment instrument to assess the student's speaking skill. The teacher can assess the student and give a feedback to the student after the student present their performance. The procedure of the implementation of authentic assessing is clear and systematic. The teacher usually determines student score in speaking skill with some consideration. And 2. There are some problems faced by the lecturer in assessing speaking while implementation of authentic assessment. First, the implementation of authentic assessment can become a mental process for the student. Second, not all the students are ready technically. And third, some students do not clearly understand about feedback. Suggestion. In conducting this paper, the writer suggests the reader to use the result of this paper to acknowledge how to assess the student's speaking skill and a pragmatic aspect which is need and in rubric score. Therefore, for the reader who consider conducting such authentic assessment in assessing speaking in order to be better and perfect. Hopefully, the reader can be more motivated to create any paper like this. And this is my paper. Sorry when I said was wrong, and thank you for your attention, and bye bye.